Grab some Scooby snacks, get the mystery machine ready. We've got unmaskings and scary chases.
From in your house to the outhouse, because this show was the shit.
This is NXT.
Welcome everybody to What's NXT for June 10th, 2020. I'm your host, the Rated R Reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General, Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
And we welcome Colin Andrew, the Cleaver, in the chat room. He is our moderator for the morning. Thank you, sir. We also welcome a really fucking good show.
Oh, yes. This is how you follow up a takeover.
Yes. Actually, I don't like this show might have been better than TakeOver.
Short of the Hindu share match, I think I thoroughly enjoyed this show.
Like TakeOver was good, but it wasn't. I don't think TakeOver was TakeOver worthy. This show was definitely the show after TakeOver worthy.
Mm-hmm.
We started off with the Undisputed Era coming out. Everybody but Kyle O'Reilly still. And
I'm feeling gypped at this point.
Cole gets on the mic and he says that he won at TakeOver like everybody thought he would, and I'm like, no, they didn't. Nobody thought you were gonna win. Everybody thought Velveteen Dream was gonna win.
It was Prince's birthday. You had like everybody saying Black Lives Matter and everything. They don't put the belt on Velveteen Dream at this point. They're not going to.
Yeah, it was not Velveteen Dream's night. This night, however, Cole says, what's next for the Undisputed Era? He says, it doesn't freaking matter what's next for him, because he's there to address the fact that his best friends got attacked by Dexter Lumis during his match, thrown in a trunk, and Roderick Strong says, yeah, and you know that's like the worst thing to me.
Yeah, that's like a huge phobia of his.
He's like, that's the thing I hate the most. I'm so afraid of that. And they're like, we didn't know that. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah.
What does Marina Shafir do to him?
Yeah, seriously. Tonight we are getting Adam Cole versus Dexter Lumis. Meanwhile, Roderick Strong is seeing Dexter's everywhere. And we're seeing him too. Dexter's popping up in the audience, and Strong is just like, he's over there. He's right behind you. And then by the time Fish and Cole turn around, he's gone. And they say, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of him. They go to leave. And
he might as well have been screaming zoinks the entire time.
He starts to get freaked out. They head to the back. He's still on the stage, looks over, and there's Dexter Lumis. And he just takes off running. He goes to catch up. So this was a fun way to start the show. And
absolutely.
Now we know what our main event's going to be. Mm-hmm. Dexter Lumis versus Adam Cole.
They announced it like not even a day or two after TakeOver, but at the same time after they said it was like non-title, I kind of not really tuned out of it, but I wasn't as excited.
So we go to commercial and come back. Backstage, Cole and Fish are trying to calm down Roderick Strong, and they seemingly get to do so, get him calm. And Keith Lee approaches. He's with Mia Yim. He's heading out for a match with Gargano and LeRae. But he stops for a minute, takes a look at Adam Cole. He says, I wasn't sure where my career was going next, where Keith Lee was going next, but I think I have an idea. And he looks at the title, the NXT title. Mm-hmm. And this is why we thought that Keith Lee was going to lose the North American Championship at In Your House, because we thought this was what was next.
But now he's got all soft shell, hard shell. Why not both?
Yeah, so you beg the question, would he have to give up the North American Championship a la 1980s, early 90s?
Mm-hmm. Under Ultimate Warrior versus Hogan, yeah.
But I reminded you that recently Seth Rollins has held both the Universal Championship and the United States Championship.
He did do double duty.
Because I believe he lost the United States Championship in the same night that he successfully defended the Universal Championship. Some shit like that.
Big up to Nate Spain.
What up, Nate? My chat room's not moving.
Yeah, I have to reload mine right now.
There it is. Nate Spain. How's it going? We're just missing Israel.
Yep.
So let's move on Keith Lee and Mia Yim versus Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Let's call them what everybody else calls them. Team Yimitless.
Oh my God. This match was all right.
It was fun. Like, it was the way mixed tags should be, and this one didn't feel as forced as the last one did with, like, you know, Johnny Gargano and Keith Lee still in their street clothes. This felt like a legitimate match, and it had a lot of funny spots in it, and a lot of just, I'll say it, there were a couple sweet spots in there too. Like when Mia Yim got caught by Keith Lee, she said, "Thanks, man," and he set her down. That was great.
Yeah, it started with a funny spot because the women get in the men's faces, respectively, and start, like, nagging at them. It's the best way I could put it, nagging at them.
Mm-hmm.
And Keith Lee looks at Candice LeRae like, what the fuck is this?
The little white girl just...
He picks her up by the waist, turns around, sets her down, and as he's setting her down, Johnny Gargano has seen him put his hands on his wife, and comes crashing down with the forearm, and we get the match started. Let's see.
Because don't you forget, once you go black, you can't get credit.
Let's see. There's a spot where we see a double Rana dive by Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano that is caught by both Mia Yim and Keith Lee and turned into a super collider without the power bomb. They just kind of collide them up top and then drop them, which seemed less safe, to be honest.
Yeah, I was about to say Candice about landing on her head.
There's a spot where Keith Lee picks up Johnny Gargano like for a power slam, and Candice LeRae reaches in and tags. She runs in, and Keith Lee just picks her up too, and she ends up gouging his eyes, which allows Johnny Gargano to drop. He then spins Candice LeRae around like she's going to do a DDT, but Lee catches her. So she's kind of got him in a guillotine, but then he picks her up, and as he picks her up to do something, Johnny Gargano kicks him in the back of the head, and she follows through with the DDT.
Beautiful.
It was great.
And she starts getting up and gloating, only to get knocked over by Mia Yim.
Well, we get the women back in the ring, and Yim hits a dragon suplex. Johnny breaks up the pin, though. So she goes bananas on both of them. She starts beating both of them. She hits both of them with a German suplex.
But Johnny Gargano bounces straight out of the ring.
She goes to hit, I think, Candice LeRae with another German who counters into an eat defeat and then hits a Cabrana but only gets a near fall. Let's see.
Cabrana's so lame.
So we get to a spot where Yim is on the apron and she's got Candice LeRae in a full Nelson setting up for maybe a dragon suplex out of the ring to the outside. Instead, Johnny Gargano runs to break it up, and Keith Lee sees him running and he pounces him into his wife, into Candice, and Candice goes into Mia Yim, who goes off the apron face first into the hockey glass. And she is out for the rest of the match. Let's see. Lee goes to check on her, and he's like reaching through the ropes. Johnny Gargano is up on the apron, super kicks him in the face. Where else?
He makes his way back into the ring only to get the...
and then jumps over the ropes into that one final beat, that DDT. But when he DDTs Keith Lee goes stomach first over Candice LeRae, who's laid out in the ring.
She just disappears.
Keith Lee eventually gets up and realizes that he fell on her.
He squashed a pixie.
He is in remorse, and he picks her up. And he cradles her. Like, what is he going to do with her? I don't know. But Johnny Gargano sneaks up from behind, does a fruit roll-up on Keith Lee. Who essentially, what's it called? The fall-away. He essentially fall-away slams Candice LeRae completely out of the ring. She just rolls until she falls. And 1, 2, 3, though, Johnny Gargano gets the pinfall on Keith Lee. Now, this hopefully means, one, the last intergender tag team match we have with these two couples. Hopefully, please. This was perfect.
This was great.
You can't do better. No need to try.
No.
Also, I hope this means Johnny Gargano has sort of earned another shot at the North American Championship via the pinfall. So we shall see. Colin says, "I love this match."
Yep. And he said, "Let's see Lee versus Cole."
Sure. Sure. In meantime, we get an interview backstage with Damian Priest. This was after In Your House, and he says,
I
Finn
lost.
Balor, yeah, Finn Balor was everything he said he was. I lost the match, but it wasn't about wins and losses. He says after tonight, the name Damian Priest is well on its way to living forever, and he says,
Told McKinney she's gorgeous.
yeah, he hits on Mackenzie.
Why not?
And then we cut to an interview tonight with Cameron Grimes with Mackenzie, and he says, she asked him about something. He says, "What do I look like a loser? Like,
Yeah, like
I won the last match."
Yeah, she's asking like hey, what his thoughts are his next match with Finn Balor, since he's already like scored
Beat him
victory
once.
of him. Yeah.
Is he worried about doing it again? He's like, "Do I look like a loser?"
Do I look like a loser like Damian Priest?
Yeah, like Damian Priest, exactly.
He puts his foot in his mouth a lot tonight.
Because he turns around and Damian Priest is right there. And he tries to like weasel his way out of it. Yeah, I was just telling Mackenzie what a
you
great
came
match
so
you
close,
had.
man. You came so close to beating Fit. Boom.
And then he gets punched in the face and he goes down. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We get a video package for Io Shirai. This was her win at TakeOver in Your House, and it was all of her great moves. We didn't get to see her get thrown through the window though.
That was a lame spot anyway. The window looked crappy.
I think she's coming back next week.
Yeah.
And Indu Share, that's Rinku and Saram with Malcolm Bivens. They come out, and we're wondering who the tag team is going to be that they're going to beat tonight. And so we pause, and it's like, is it going to be Everrise again?
Are they going to bring the Pretty Deadly over from overseas, or is that who they're going to ship over here? Because they'd be the lightest ones, I believe.
Or is it two no-name jobbers that are already in the ring and we can't even see them yet? And sure,
It was too.
They got names. They actually got a name placard.
Yeah.
They didn't get an entrance or music or nothing, and they didn't say their names on commentary.
Probably looked good on the tombstone.
But Mike and Mike, Mikey Del Bray and Mike Reed,
The mics.
the mics. We get an Insta Big Boot, and Tom Phillips tells us on commentary that Cameron Grimes is pulling out of his match with Finn Balor tonight because of that punch that he took from Damian Priest.
He thinks he may have a broken jaw.
Broken jaw, folks. Broken jaw. We don't find that out till later. But meanwhile, back in the ring, Rinku delivers two of these running splashes into the corner that were just wicked looking.
They look like they shifted the ring.
And then they did that tag team finisher where they drop a back drop with a leg drop coming off the middle rope. That completely missed the head, by the way. But whatever. 1, 2, 3. I mean,
like the strikes looked vicious enough that I was like, okay, this is looking better. And then that finish, I was like, they needs a little work. But,
well, I mean, the side slam alone from a guy that size to a jobber unknown should have been fine without the actual leg drop connecting. So whatever. Whatevs. These guys win. Of course they were. Meanwhile, Mackenzie, who is working like triple duty, Jesus Christ.
She is everywhere.
Get Radzi over here or something. Shit. She's talking to Drake Verst, who is talking to William Regal via Skype or something on his iPad. And he's telling Regal that Cameron Grimes refuses to wrestle because his jaw is broke. And William Regal is like, you take me to Cameron Grimes.
And Drake's like, right on it.
Let's go. So we go to commercial and come back, and here comes Drake and Mackenzie heading towards Cameron Grimes, who's talking up some ladies. And he is super loud, which tells us, hey, his jaw probably isn't that bad. Tells William Regal the same thing, who tells him he better go get ready for his match because his jaw seems just fine.
Yep.
My favorite part of this, though, was he keeps telling Drake to go away because he can't see him, like they're from behind him. So he's like, go away, Drake. Go count 1, 2, 3 or something.
Nate Spain says, I'm glad Imperium were the ones that took the titles off Riddle and done to Thatcher instead of Indu Share, which was originally planned. Yes.
Yeah, jeez. Yes. Okay, so where were we?
I was about to say, that would have been entirely too much green in that ring.
So let's see. We get a video package promo for Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
This was
Breezango.
really entertaining. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed this.
It was sort of an interview with them, and they're reminiscing about some of their past. They call them characters or gimmicks or whatever, where they came out as
Construction
workers,
doctors, pilots.
And they said back in SmackDown when they became, the
Fashion police,
they kind of got lost in the gimmick and they lost their focus. But they've changed the game up now, and they showed that in the triple threat match. And they're going to change it up again against Emporium. Fabio and Marsupio.
What I really liked about this was they acknowledged that Fandango's first match, he beat Jericho without them saying Jericho.
Didn't say Jericho.
At WrestleMania, they showed that Tyler Breeze for a long time was Mr. NXT. Like a match that they wanted a big response out of, they put him in. So now they're getting back to old form, and I'm actually really excited about this match between them and Imperium next week.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win. I really hope
they're not going to, but it's going to be a good showing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we get a video package for Karrion Kross and Tommaso Ciampa from In Your House. Showed all the best clips, which was very brief because the match itself was very brief. This leads into them showing after the show, apparently hours after the show, because the cameraman walks up to Tommaso Ciampa, who's still hanging around, and he says, "The show's been over for hours. What are you still doing here? Like, what do you think about your loss against Karrion Kross? Did you underestimate him?" And the whole time, Tommaso Ciampa, after hanging out for hours, decides now is the time for him to leave and not say anything at all.
I think if anything, they're trying to portray it like he didn't really know what to say, for one, and two, I think he didn't want to really talk to anybody, so he's just waiting out everybody to leave.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, that's all we get.
And Ciampa just drives off. Maybe that's him driving off to the sunset. Maybe we'll never see him again. Who knows?
And now we get an interview with Rhea Ripley, who is talking about Io Shirai, and she says during the triple threat she saw an opportunity and took it, and she said, "Good on her." Meanwhile, God, McKenzie, dude, doing way too much work tonight. Robert Stone comes up and dismisses McKenzie. She doesn't leave though, thank God, because she's got the microphone in hand. And Robert Stone, so disheveled.
So great.
So great. He tells Rhea Ripley, he's like, "We're both losers," basically. He's like, you lost at TakeOver, and you've been losing all of 2020, but it's okay, because I'm an even bigger loser. He's like, but together we can turn this around.
We'll be like a phoenix, rising from the ashes together.
My favorite part of the whole night. Rhea tells him that the odds of her joining the Robert Stone brand are 1 in a million. And Robert Stone says,
"So you're saying there's still a chance?" He totally went Dumb and Dumber. It was great.
Yes, it was so good. It was so good.
But then they have a private discussion over to the side.
Yeah, she says, "Come with me." She brings him over to the side, out of all the lights and away from Mackenzie. And she proceeds to...
Donkey punch.
Yeah, punch. She punches him in the balls, then picks him up and body slams him into a garbage receptacle. And he is even more dejected than before. And
initially he was in the gutter, now he's just in the trash. So he is moving up a little bit. He's at least trying.
Oh, why he thought her. Anyway, Cameron Grimes versus Finn Balor. Guess who the ref is?
So, Drake.
So when the inevitable pinfall for Finn Balor comes, Drake does indeed get to do a 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Oh, you can't see my hands. I'm too far out of the frame. Yeah, he gets to go count 1, 2, 3 or something. This match was pretty good.
We didn't know we needed this rematch.
The first half of it kind of went by fairly quickly. There wasn't anything to note. It just was them doing their shit. Mm-hmm. We go to commercial. We come back, and we start getting into the match where it's not just Finn Balor doing this, kicking everybody's ass and going home shit. No. Like Cameron Grimes, who several months ago was unknown, is now like in there going head to head with Finn Balor and nearly
looking
winning.
really good in the process.
Finn Balor keeps going. He keeps getting these move sets in where it's like he's starting to lead towards the finish, and every time Grimes counters it, he gets out of it. I've got several notes on this, but I thought this match honestly should have been the main event.
I was
Not
about
the
to say
first hour
this was fantastic match.
I didn't have one note for the first half of it, but then suddenly like all kinds of shit happened. What were your thoughts?
I could honestly see Cameron Grimes winning the North American title by the end of the year. They're actually pushing him pretty hard at this point, and he's getting a lot of television time, and rightfully so, because he's super irritating on the mic. Like the backstage segment earlier was just fantastic, and now he's showing more and more so that he belongs in a ring with pretty much anybody they can throw at him, because he's just been doing fantastic.
Yeah, I will get to that, Colin. I actually have that note written. Not as detailed as yours, though. So good on you. So as I was saying, every time, so Balor starts setting up the end of the match right here, and then it takes like another 10 minutes. So he hits that double leg takedown in that double leg stomp that he does, kind of like the end of a cave in without them standing.
Yep.
And you said that was devastating looking because apparently he skidded forward into his neck.
I was about to say he looked like he was about ready to like wax off his chest with it, man. It was horrible.
He follows that up with a sling blade, hits the John Woo drop kick into the corner, but then when he goes for the coup de grace, he misses, and Grimes goes for a roll up. Yeah, he gets a near fall off of that, and then gets up and hits a Superman forearm, and it tips a German suplex, but Balor counters into the 1916, which Grimes counters into a roll up for a near fall. But then eventually catches a curtain call and goes again for the 1916. Grimes counters again, hits that swinging side effect that he does again for a near fall, and he can't believe it. And I'm like, well, duh, dude, that's not your finisher.
No.
Not against Balor, certainly. Let's see. Balor counters the cave in, and what he does is he flips Grimes up and drops him over the top rope, turns around, grabs him up, and hits what they called a reverse 1916 DDT. It was just a lifting reverse DDT.
Yeah.
But goes for a pinfall, near fall. This is where Grimes counters or kicks out of the one move that really might have done it before it actually does it. Anyway, we see a coup de grace right after that into a 1916 DDT. Just phenomenally spiked. 1, 2, 3. Of course, Finn Balor wins. And as Colin's note says afterwards, he looks into the camera and says, I've held a lot of championships around here, but not the NA title. Never. When you're done playing house, come at the Prince. Something like that. He calls out Keith Lee.
So, here's my question. Do we see a triple threat? Johnny Gargano, Keith Lee, and Finn Balor.
I think that would be a lot more fun than just Keith Lee versus Finn Balor. Have we seen just Keith Lee versus Finn Balor yet?
No, we have not.
I would rather see that by itself.
But there's more of a chance of the belt being taken off of Keith Lee and for him to be able to go at Adam Cole.
If there's somebody there for one or the other to pin.
Exactly. Pretty much the Io Shirai thing where I was right.
Pretty smart. Pretty smart. Yeah, it's a good idea. Meanwhile, Casey Catanzaro versus Dakota Kai coming out with Raquel Gonzalez. Of course, Dakota Kai is going to win.
Yeah.
Like, she's got Raquel Gonzalez, plus this is Casey Catanzaro, who weighs about 80 pounds.
I was about to say, that's with clothes, probably.
And jewelry.
She got a lot of great offense in, but not enough. And the distractions from Raquel and just the wiliness of Kai just kind of did her in.
Let's see. At the end of the match, Casey hits a pretty well executed but highly stolen a Miz Lariat in the corner. She comes out of that, and Dakota Kai immediately hits her with that scorpion kick to the head.
Yep. And
then follows it with the go-to kick. 1, 2, 3. Which she didn't execute very well.
No.
It looked more like she was going for a double lung blower.
I think if anything, she's like anticipated Casey to probably be heavier, so she couldn't tie it properly.
Let's see. Cleaver says that would tie in the Gargano Finn feud we had earlier this year.
That's true too.
Yeah. Yep. So after match, we get a beatdown by Dakota Kai on Catanzaro, and during which somebody comes out.
Oh, Caden Carter.
Yeah, Caden Carter comes out to help, and
Gets some licks in, but not enough.
she goes to hit a tornado DDT on Gonzalez and kicks Dakota Kai. Gonzalez, though, doesn't let her execute the DDT. Instead, picks her up in like a cradle back body drop, but then grabs her into a single arm power bomb out of it. I like the move.
It's a cool looking move.
Perfect for her, I think.
For a woman her size, if you squint, you can't really tell if she's trying to look like China or Diesel.
Nice. And that's the end of that. So we get a video promo. Tim Thatcher is in a ring. We just see him missing half a front tooth from his last match. Matt Riddle.
Riddle me this. Who took it?
He passed out, but he took some teeth with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give Vince the idea to debut Riddle as the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
No, it wouldn't, Jerry. Stop. So Thatcher is leading what he calls a Thatch as Thatch Can school of wrestling. We don't get to see any of the people in the school, although we do see like shoulders and shit. So we know there's people there.
So do you think he's going to start some sort of faction out of the Performance Center? Just bring some new dudes in?
Sure, why not?
Class
begins next week.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of foreshadowing for next week.
And it's going to be a great show next week.
This week, though, we do have big things a-coming.
Oh, yeah.
El Hijo del Fantasma comes to the ring. He's here to celebrate his Cruiserweight Championship victory, but before he can say much into the mic, out comes Drake Maverick.
To steal spotlight.
Not to cause any trouble, really, but to say, look, it's quite the opposite. He says he feels like his situation last week where he got, a contract given to him after the match kind of overshadowed the fact that Phantasma won.
Yeah.
And he says that, that people should be celebrating you, and you earned your victory, you deserve it. And let's see, meanwhile, the Lucha Nappers come out.
Well, first, he asked for a rematch for the belt, and Phantasma says, yeah, sure, why not?
No, he says C.
Oh, he says C.
And then the Lucha Nappers come out. And then
this is when the shit hits the fan.
They surround the ring. That's one on one side, one on the other. So Drake Maverick staring one way and Phantasma staring the other. And exactly what we called happened. Phantasma turned around and the crowd starts oh-ing. And that's when Drake Maverick realizes it. He turns around and catches a headbutt square to the face.
Yeah, he I'm not sure what the word fucked is in Spanish, but he was at that moment.
Yeah, he catches a Phantom Driver, and then Phantasma actually... Okay, so after the Lucha Nappers get in the ring, they unmask. And, of course, Raul Mendoza.
And Joaquin Wilde.
There we go. Thank you. But then Phantasma goes to unmask. And I paused it at the perfect spot. Right before he lifts his head up. And we're like, who's it going to be? Because he's unmasking, so we got to know this guy, right? Who do we know that looks like this, that could have gotten these tattoos, and suddenly he's a different persona? No, nothing that cool. He's just taking the mask off and ditching the name El Hijo del Fantasma. We were hoping he was just going to go with Phantasma or Phantasma Jr. Instead, I think this is a much cooler name.
He drops the bomb-ass name!
Santos Escobar. The name Escobar is just brilliant because he's got his own...
cartel.
The Lucha Cartel, man. And then we follow up the unmasking with a double splash by Wilde and...
Mendoza.
There we go, the other guy. Off of the corners.
The most effective they've been on a fucking roster.
This was great.
Yes!
Exactly what we needed. I hope this leads into a rematch.
I think it will, but I also think it's going to lead into a six-man tag first. But who do you think would team with Drake Maverick? Probably Jake Atlas and Swerve Scott?
Sure. Why not?
Jake
Atlas. Huh? At least Jake Atlas.
Yeah, Jake Atlas at least.
At the very least.
But I think the other possible person would be Swerve, because I think he's the only other cruiserweight that you had that's a face.
I would rather it be somebody that's going to turn on them and join the group.
It'll be Jake Atlas.
Join the cartel. Would it?
Jake Atlas's horrible jacket, yes.
Cool. So backstage, the Undisputed Era is preparing for Dexter Lumis, and Strong finds a drawing that was obviously done by Dexter Lumis. It's got all three of the Undisputed Era laid out. A lot of blood. It's a black and white drawing, but there's a lot of red blood there. I'm like, dude, that's a little not PG. They reassure him that Loomis was never there. And they go to leave, and Strong goes back to take one last look at the picture, and he looks up, and there's Loomis in the doorway staring through the glass.
He just bolts.
And he gets the fuck out of there. He heads for Dodge. So, we're almost to the main event, but before we get there, they want to announce, first off, they want to drop us a little teaser or not a teaser, a trailer, I guess, for WWE's pay-per-view, not Money in the Bank.
Backlash.
There we go, Backlash.
We're doing predictions for that tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with Noah and Colin. Tune in.
Be there or be square. At Backlash, we're going to have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships defended in a triple threat tag match. Might as well plug it. Bayley and Sasha Banks defending against the Iconics, and
Liz Cross applesauce.
There you go. The winner of that match will be at NXT next week because for some reason
they're going to be faced off against Shotzi and Tegan.
Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart have an opportunity at the Women's Tag Championships. I'm glad they're finally, coming to NXT and defending on NXT. But what exactly did Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox as a two-person team ever do to earn this title shot?
So we have to talk about that triple threat match first. Do we see Sasha Banks and Bayley coming down here coming to NXT for this match? I really don't. If anything, I see either the Iconics or Bliss and Cross winning the belt. So possibly the Iconics.
I'd rather get into that when we do predictions. Right now, I think it would have made more sense for them to take on, and unless we just need the baby faces, it would have made more sense for them to take on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
Well, theoretically, that's what we got, and that's why they're getting the match.
Anyway, no, I mean for the titles.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
To be given the opportunity because they're actually a team.
Yeah, because they had their Titantron and everything together. Yeah. And they got announced as the team.
Also next week, they want to remind us Imperium versus Breezango.
That's going to be a good match.
Men's tag titles, women's tag titles. It's going to be a fun show next week, hopefully.
Who do you think is going to main event?
I think it's going to be, I think it depends on who wins the women's championships. If it's Bayley and Sasha Banks, I think the women's championship match will probably main event.
Yep. And Breezango versus...
but if it's the
Imperium.
Iconics, then it'll main event the first hour.
Yep. I'm about to say Breezango and them would probably be... Yeah.
That brings us to the main event. Dexter Lumis versus Adam Cole, who does come out with Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong.
Surprise, surprise.
Why the fuck does he need them?
To
win the match.
I think it's more for comedic effect, too, because Roderick Strong completely misses his mark staring at Dexter Lumis.
So this was great. Lumis comes out first. I half expected them to attack Lumis during his entrance. They did not. They come out to do their entrance again, because they did it at the beginning of the show, and it looked off kilter because there was no Kyle O'Reilly on the left, but whatever. Now, in the entrance during the beginning of the show, it was Bobby Fish that was off the mark when they did the boom part.
Yeah.
He wasn't up on the corner in time. This time around, it's Roderick Strong, but not because of a botch, but because he's staring at Dexter Lumis, and they go to do the boom, and he's not even on the corner. He turns around and gets up real quick.
He's like, oh! He's frazzled, and it's great.
He is frazzled. This was an okay match.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't... I don't think it was a main event quality, but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant for anything big to happen from the match. This was more or less all about the
Yeah,
aftermatch.
I was about to say this was more of a gimmick type feel match where like we had this whole story going throughout the entire night about Roderick Strong being afraid of Dexter Loomis, and just this almost like this fear that if Dexter Loomis is able to beat Adam Cole, that would put him in contention for the belt. But at the same time, we're both already thinking it's like they're not gonna put the belt on Dexter Loomis, or they're not gonna have him pin Adam Cole tonight. Adam Cole's like list of people he's gone through as a champion, and for Dexter Loomis to pin him tonight, that wasn't gonna happen.
No, but they wanted to show that Dexter Loomis is a force and that he might, given a good enough opportunity, be able to do just that and either pin him or make him submit or fall asleep. But Adam Cole, of course, needs the Undisputed Era to get the win, does get the win, doesn't have to worry about Dexter Loomis maybe having an opportunity.
Which makes Dexter Loomis look even stronger in defeat.
Yeah, because it took 3 guys to defeat him. And again, it's all about the aftermatch. But I want to go back to the beginning because there were some cool spots in this. There's a spot where Loomis tries to counter a last shot with an Anaconda Vice, but Cole instead super kicks him, gets out of it and super kicks him for the near fall. And then there's a spot where Adam Cole goes for essentially a Shining Wizard. They said it was a last shot, but it was to the face. But Loomis ducks and hits a spine buster, but goes to follow up, and Cole dumps him outside. Now this is where we first see the Undisputed Era try to pull some shenanigans. They go to surround him while Adam Cole is distracting the ref. But by the time Fish and Strong get over there, Loomis is gone. And they're like, what? And Adam Cole's like, what? And the referee's like, what? And Dexter Loomis is behind Adam Cole. Crawling up on.
Slithering.
Mm-hmm. He's a Slytherin. So let's see. He gets the upper hand, goes for a swanton, but Cole counters it with the knees. And then he goes for a Panama Sunrise that Dexter Loomis catches and goes for the Anaconda Vice. But then this is where the Undisputed Era distract and attack. That's what I call it, distract and attack. So we had Bobby Fish get up on the apron, distract the ref. Cole gets up and leads Loomis over to the ropes where Roderick Strong hits a reluctant knee to the side of Dexter Loomis's head, which drops him. Cole hits him with a last shot to the side of the head again instead of the back. 2 shots to the temple. 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole, of course, wins the match because it's just, you're not going to do that. You're not going to have him lose to Dexter Loomis after Dexter Loomis hasn't had a credible win. He's had 2 wins, I think, in NXT, and those were over jobbers. He didn't even make it past the first round in the breakout tournament. So anyway, but you still want to make him look good. So they did that. So Undisputed Era go to leave, and Strong and Fish make it out of the ring, but Adam Cole goes back to do some smack talking, which costs him because he gets locked into that Anaconda Vice for a few seconds before finally Strong and Fish make it back to the ring to try and break it up. This brings out Velveteen Dream, who takes out Bobby Fish, takes him to the back, and then Dexter Loomis scares Roderick Strong to the back, so he chases him away, which leaves Adam Cole alone in the ring, and I pause it. And we're like, okay, who's going to come out and challenge Adam Cole? What was your guess?
I don't even remember.
On the spot, was it Keith Lee?
No.
Tommaso Ciampa?
I don't know who's going to challenge him.
Well, I said it right before it happened. Karrion Kross. Sure enough, the lights go out and there's
this is quite possibly one of the most awesome challenges that they have ever seen laid out because they can do so much with this.
No words necessary. No words necessary.
Before we get into this, Colin actually asked 2-on-3 handicap match next week. Probably not next week, but wouldn't shock me if they set up for the week after next, since we're already tag team heavy for next week.
I think it's going to be a 2-on-2 match. I think it's just going to be Dexter Loomis and Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. I think we're going to see things develop between Adam Cole and Karrion Kross by themselves. Anyway, Scarlett Bordeaux, who is in a full black leather catsuit, She looks like Catwoman without a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Comes to the ring with something behind her back. She pulls it out, and it's a hourglass that she sets in a specific spot that is a tiny little spotlight, which is great. Tiny little spotlight.
Perfect.
And it's one that has a swivel, and she turns it over, and it starts dripping. And it's a tiny little bit of sand. And I feel like that might be an hourglass that is literally 1 week long.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway, the audience starts chanting tick-tock,
mm-hmm.
tick-tock. And I feel like that shitty app is getting free advertisement.
I had the idea that they should show the sand still going through the hourglass like over the course of this next week or something. Just maybe even on just WWE television, just have the sands going through.
I doubt it, but
kind of like they did for the Millennium Clock for Jericho. I think that'd be really neat.
Or if it's more than 1 week long, next week show some of the sand come.
Yep. And they're just like, you don't even have to have any words or anything. Just grainy picture, almost like the Ring video or some shit. Just.
Yeah.
Or maybe even have Scarlett like hand come in the frame, just kind of like
stroking it.
Yeah. Yeah,
stroking the hourglass.
Stroking the hourglass.
That's a good way to get people to watch.
Oh yeah. That's good time.
Another good way to get people to watch till the very end is watching Scarlett Bordeaux walk back up the ramp.
Yeah.
Towards Karrion Kross's great,
really
awesome
cool
logo.
Yeah.
And then turn around and look.
Perfect cap to like a great NXT show.
What a show! That brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. Jerry, where do you rate this match and aftermatch?
I was about to say I'm gonna have to give it like a pretty high score for the aftermatch, but I'm gonna give it 3 3/4. Like the show, like the match was okay in itself, and it really showed Dexter Lumis as a force to be reckoned with, which is what they needed to do, because they're really losing people left and right here again.
Yeah.
But Adam Cole was gonna walk in the champion. He's gonna walk out the champion. It was a non-title, and he wasn't gonna drop the match either. But this sets up for bigger and better things. So, and on top of a great show, I'm gonna give it an extra quarter. So I'm gonna put it right at 4.
Word. I like this match. This match was, I don't think, the main event of the show, but the aftermatch was definitely what needed to be the main event, so I'll forgive it. Because, again, I think somehow Cameron Grimes and Finn Balor was just a better match.
Because it was a better match. That's going to be our new Lee versus Dijakovic. Anytime Finn Balor and Cameron Grimes get in the ring together, it's going to be awesome.
But just the story that they told in the ring of Lumis being this powerhouse and the way Adam Cole sells, I'm going to have to go one higher. I'm going to have to go 3 1/4 or 3 3/4. Because I think this was really, really good, borderline great. And I will give it an extra quarter for the great show.
There's so much going on in this show. It was equal parts great wrestling and equal parts like storyline and getting more shit moving forward. So I was kind of curious what they were going to do with Thatcher since Riddle's no longer there.
Well, the aftermatch was all fine and dandy, but it ended with Velveteen Dream and Dexter Lumis chasing off Strong and Fish, and I think that was kind of weak because that's just kind of like it's a weird way for Velveteen Dream to go when he was just vying for the NXT Championship. Yep. But I guess it makes sense for him to come out and help Dexter Lumis the way that Lumis helped him. But still, Karrion Kross would have been great if I hadn't called it, so I'm not going to go and give it anything extra for the aftermatch. I think the match itself was fine.
Yep.
For a 3 3/4.
Okay.
So I'm gonna level with you. I'm gonna give it a 4-2.
Colin gives it 3 3/4, no more nor less, and Nate Spain says a 4 out of 5. So we're all about the same boat.
So that brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT. Thank you for joining us. Please join us tomorrow as we do predictions for WWE Backlash 2020. It's been a while since we've had a Backlash. You gotta do the L.
The scythe thing.
Oh no, the L is that way, right?
The scythe.
The aftermatch. So, Yeah, join us tomorrow for that.
Oh, we're
Yeah, we're going to try to be on right at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe give us a few minutes, depending, but should be able to
Yeah.
pull that off.
You just got to find a background.
Yeah, we should have Colin the Cleaver Andrew and Noah Foster, NXT Team No DQ. That's where we fall.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in between.
This will be my day. I got a good feeling about Backlash.
Meanwhile, next week, not sure what we're going to end up doing on Friday because we won't have anything to preview or predict.
We very well may have new hidden gems by then. We don't know.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not complaining about the hidden gems. The hidden gems are great.
And if you'd like to join us for a future review of that, you could find us on social media, or you could leave a comment down below with a way for us to find you. But if you want to look me up on Twitter at Stefan R. Osborne, you can go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or it's just ROSBORNE at Twitter. And the R stands for restricted, as always. Yeah, you can also find the gentleman on Twitter.
At Gerald_JSJ, my Facebook group RBAR, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Got a t-shirt on teespring.com at the Great Cherry brand. Go comp that. I guess that's what kids are saying now. You can find us also on the Aftermatch Wrestling group on Facebook. And Colin the Cleaver Andrews runs a whole bunch of stuff for us. Aftermatch_wrestling on Instagram, yeah.
And on Twitter at Aftermatch Rest,
yep.
Where we take the ling out of wrestling.
Whatever the fuck that means.
And you can find us on, let's see, Instagram, me at Osborne.Stefan, the gentleman at
the_gentleman_slaughter.
And
Patreon.
Oh yeah, we have a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can find us there at Stefan R. Osborne, or if you just have a few seconds, join us, won't you? Click the like button. If you like the show, it just makes sense. Click the like button. We'll give you a second.
Colin said exclamation point. And Nate's gone for a night, so we'll see you later, Nate.
If you like this show and all of the rest of our shows, then click the subscribe button over there. That just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes sense. It's for you.
Yeah.
So YouTube shows you when all our shows go up.
We're up to 185 now. We got 4 more members.
15 more subscribers, and we're at 200.
That's good math right there.
That's just good math.
Yeah.
I'm a math head. Now, if you want to join us live, we're not saying you have to. We appreciate all our viewers, whether you're live or otherwise. But if you want to join us live, your phone will let you know. Just click that bell icon. Mm-hmm. It'll tell your phone will tell you. You can click the little thing. It'll take you right to us. And you can comment in the chat room, and we will talk to you.
Yeah.
We'll try
to.
Yeah, we try. And if you'd like to help the channel grow, help us out. Click the share button. There's platforms you can share us on, like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, or you can share us on your YouTube, or you can just take down that long-ass HTTP address, that URL, and go grab a Sharpie and hit the town, man.
I was about to say, put in your mom's meatloaf. Little fortune cookies with Aftermatch Wrestling in it.
Yes. Support Aftermatch and support each other. Edward Chother.
We should really look into
Mr. Each Other.
We should look into that. Aftermatch Wrestling fortune cookies. Just start stashing in Chinese restaurants. Very shrewd.
Just, what's that? Drop a whole bunch in their box. If you want a good fortune, join us at Aftermatch. For the General, the Gentleman,
in the sheets,
Jerry Slaughter. I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in NXT time.